Welcome back, everyone. Next up, we have Regen BioPharma Inc. Trades on the OTC pink sheets under the symbol RGBP and RGBPP. Focused on the immunology and immunotherapy space, this company is focused on rapidly advancing novel technologies through preclinical and phase 1 and 2 clinical trials. Currently, the company is focused on mRNA and small molecule therapies for treating cancer and autoimmune disorders. Please welcome its president and CEO, David Koos, with senior scientific consultant, Harry Lander. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Well, thank you, Anna. We're happy to be here and looking forward to addressing any questions and issues that shareholders may have.
All right.
So today, since the last presentation, we've received quite a few questions and comments about the 1 for 1,500 stock reverse, as well as future financing and direction of the company. So instead of doing a normal presentation today, I would like to address, I think, some of the more prevalent comments and questions that we've gotten. And with that, I'll start off with, in no particular order, the first one will be, what is the use of proceeds for the $5 million we're proposing to raise? So in the last presentation, I discussed that we need to raise $5 million for our research. We believe that the $5 million will allow the company to complete all preclinical research for our product D-Cellvax, IND studies, and IND application to the FDA, as well as complete phase 1 of clinical trials. We believe that once we complete phase 1 clinical trials on Cellvax, assuming the safety studies go as expected, we should attract interest from large biotech and big pharma companies. We believe this process can be accomplished over the next 2 years. Let's see. Kind of coupling with that, how long will $5 million keep the company afloat before you need to raise more capital? Well, we believe that the D-Cellvax research that we anticipate taking through phase 1 clinical trials over the next 2 years will cost approximately $4 million. This will leave the company approximately $1 million for operating expenses, which once we clear phase 1 clinical trials, it's our belief that the company will find some type of license agreement and/or partnership agreement that will carry the company through phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trials. We believe that if and when a partnership is formed, dilution to shareholders will be minimized because it won't be a equity situation. It will be a pay-for involvement with the actual therapeutic. Let's see. What is the potential valuation that a $5 million infusion of capital means to the company? Well, that's a good question. It is determined on the outcome of phase 1 trials, interest from other biotech or big pharma companies, and signs of efficacy that are suggested in phase 1. Phase 1 trials are designed to determine safety of the use in patients, but it also gives us some idea of efficacy, which will be further examined in phase 2 clinical trials. Potential partnership agreement could provide an upfront payment to the company, plus milestone payments to the company. Well, I believe this should be a substantial increase in the company's valuation. The exact number is hard to determine by the amount of mentioned items. So I can't really say that if we get through A, B, and C, that the company's going to have a valuation of X. That'll really be determined by what the outcomes of the studies are, and by the enthusiasm by a larger biotech company or a big pharma company in developing the therapeutic. Okay, another question that's come up is why did you leave the company for a period of time, and why did you come back? So back in January of 2020, I left the company for personal reasons, as well as to pursue other opportunities. Unfortunately, my leaving resulted in the company just about going out of business, something I didn't foresee at the time of my resignation, which compelled me to negotiate my return. Over the years, I have way too much invested in Regen BioPharma, and I don't plan on leaving again unless the company has everything it needs to succeed at the time of my departure. Okay, now we get into several questions regarding the reverse stock split. One question says, reverse splits have a very bad history of being shorted or sold off down to under $1 back to pennies. How are you prepared to protect shareholders from this happening to us? I'm making decisions in this situation that I view are beneficial to the company and its future, and ultimately for its shareholders. I have no control over the market. It is my belief that the company raises the capital that it needs in the right way, it will have the least negative impact on shareholders compared to financings currently available to the company on a pre-reverse basis. And those would include things like convertible notes and other toxic financings that we have done hard to get away from, and we are moving forward looking towards non-super dilutive situations like that. Now, I had mentioned that my goal was to eventually uplist to NASDAQ. This question states, you stated your goal is to uplist to NASDAQ. However, due to the lengthy process that would be required to undertake this giant step, do you plan on uplisting to an OTC market or exchange as an intermediary step? Well, post-stock reverse, I will examine where we sit with respect to uplisting to an exchange senior to the pinks and what is available to the company. It's not likely that right out of the gate that we'll qualify for NASDAQ post-reverse. As I previously stated, the goal is to reach NASDAQ, but we have to achieve the criteria that is required for such an uplist. Can you elaborate on how the reverse split is going to help facilitate raising money to advance your pipeline? By doing the reverse stock split, the company believes it can access capital on a less dilutive basis and on better terms than it can at current prices. The company believes it will be able to issue a fixed number of shares post-reverse that will provide an infusion of capital to the company. Currently, the company only has access to highly dilutive and toxic financing vehicles, such as floorless convertible notes that would ultimately result in probably tripling the number of shares in the marketplace, and the cap the company has potential of in terms of increasing its stock price is very limited. Hence the need for the reverse. Now, one person asked me what the deciding factors that led to your decision on a 1 for 1,500 reverse split instead of a 1 to 1,000 or a 1 to 100 or 1 to 10. Well, okay, so currently I am identifying potential future investors and what they feel their goals and needs are in terms of reverse split and what a deal structure would look like. There is nothing that has been finalized at this point, merely indications of interest. We believe the best way to finance the company going forward and keeping the dilution, which is a major concern to shareholders, to a minimum, is going through this reverse and looking at achieving a financing with a much more senior level type of financial institution. Also, a reverse of this magnitude was done so that we could avoid what we believe is any future reverse down the road. The goal is one and done with the reverse, and that's what we want to do. Okay. Will you be issuing a new series of shares to yourself? Currently, I have no plans to issue new series of shares to myself. Then we have, why was Regen removed from the OTC QB back to the pinks where it currently is? Well, OTC QB requires a minimum bid price of a penny, which clearly the common is below that. Anna, I think I'm going to stop there and see if we have some questions from the audience that would be good to answer.
Yes, so a lot has been addressed. Luis Rowland asked, what's the scientific significance and potential value of the last two patent applications?
Harry, I'm going to dump that in your lap.
Yeah, sure. Last two patent applications. So if I'm not mistaken, that they were CAR T related. So yeah, I mean, the CAR T space, as we've discussed, is an extremely dynamic and highly sought after space. We're currently moving our products through early preclinical testing, and results will be forthcoming this year. So yeah, they're based around cell therapies treating solid cancers.
Okay, great.
The patent applications are really to protect everything that we're researching at this point.
Okay, great. Well, due to time, we do have to move on to our next presenter, but we do have all these questions from our audience, and we're going to send them to you, gentlemen, so you can answer and reply on your own time. But we really appreciate your transparency and addressing all these questions, and as always, enjoy seeing you and hearing these updates. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, stay with us. We'll be right back.